Guru Nation, we have a special guest. Tamira Adams is somebody who watched and didn't just listen, but did what the formula says to do. She trusted the process. And she has a background of as a medical scribe, and now she works in our industry, recently hired. There's a shout out to Lee Eifler, had a
Mhm.
pivotal role in all of this. Um, and shout out to Tamira herself for doing it. It's easy to listen and take notes and say, okay, that's a good idea. One day I'll do it. It's another thing to just do it. And that's what she did. And she's here. Her LinkedIn's underneath. Everybody needs to go connect. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tamara, for coming on, and congrats, by the way,
Thank you.
on your hire.
Thank you.
So give us background. How did it go? What did you do? People want to know the struggles. Did you struggle?
Yeah. So I guess I'll start from the very, very beginning. Um, I initially in my sophomore year at Georgia State, I wanted to get into the research field, just regular research, but I didn't know how. So I just emailed every single biology and psychology faculty member at Georgia State. And I got a hit, and I initially started out as a volunteer as an RA for the organization at Georgia State known as Project Healthy Grandparents. And in the organization, you just essentially study the effects of the emotional, behavioral, and psychological effects on grandparents who have to raise their grandchildren due to the biological parent being absent.
And
So I
so
did that.
it was like truly academic research, but you were out in the field. Were you like interviewing people or compiling data, or what kind of work were you actually doing in that study? It sounds
Yeah,
like some
so I
studies.
was I was, I guess you say patient recruit because I was,
Ah,
cold calling, grandparents, and I had like a script. And I had to ask them, what was their mental state when the biological parent left, or what was the grandchild's mental state, and then I had to enter that data into Excel, and I did that for about 3 years. Well, I initially started as a volunteer, but then I eventually got a payroll, and I did that for about 3 years.
that's a lot of transferable skills because it's patient recruitment, it's data entry, it's data collection.
And
Okay,
admin
so
tasks also like
yeah.
answering phone calls, filing documents, organizing documents.
And then where did you discover clinical research? And then what was your motivation? What was the motivation behind finding a career in clinical research?
Mhm. So I've been a patient all my life, hydrocephalus. So and being especially a pediatric patient, I've had over 11 shunt revisions. I've experienced where nurses and doctors didn't treat me the best as far as being concerned about my safety as a patient. So, and that was a very young. I was like, I developed hydrocephalus when I was an infant, but
Mm.
when I was able to see and understand, see and speak and meet these doctors and nurses and healthcare workers. I immediately noticed about around the age of 13, the lack of patient safety that I felt that I was experiencing. So I think that was kind of like always in the back of my mind.
What was some of the things you were going through as a child that because it seems like this was played a pivotal had a pivotal impact on your eventual career wants and desires. But what were some of the feelings that you had or the situations you were in where you were like, I think this is not right.
So my mother, she's also a nurse. She worked at the pediatric hospital where I was, and I guess the her coworkers figured out that I was there, and they took my patient chart and like released it to like
Uh,
other coworkers.
I see. So like PHI, protected health
Mhm.
information and things
Yeah.
like that. Um, is it considered a rare disease or is it a more common than we think? I want
I
to
would
say it's
say it's
rare.
I'm gonna say this in the nicest way. I think that it is rare to not have additional health issues with having hydrocephalus.
Okay,
Because usually other people that have like spinal bifida, MS, what else? Down syndrome.
I see. So
Mm,
it causes a lot of
mm,
second order effects after the initial diagnosis. And usually it's diagnosed in infancy.
yeah, yeah. Me specifically, I wasn't born with hydrocephalus, so I was born a preemie, and I only
Okay.
weighed 1 pound. Yeah, and I had yeah,
Wow.
me and my sister, but I had a stroke, and then that caused my vessels to be blocked, and
Wow. So you were born 1 pound. You said you and your sister, were you guys
I'm
twins?
yes, I'm a twin.
Wow. Okay. My wife is a twin as well. She has a twin brother. So this, I think it's one, I want to say it's a rare disease, but there's a lot of conversation in this industry now around rare disease, and I've seen, because I've been doing research since 2005, an increase in the amount of rare disease studies we're seeing. So I think there's going to be a lot of work being done in this space. And it seems like this is a critical part of your origin story, right? Is
Yeah.
one of the main reasons why you're in this industry in the first place. So I think there could be a lot done as far as educating people on research options. Were you or your mom, because you said your mom's a nurse, were you guys ever considering research opportunities for your situation?
No, I mean, I don't think my mom like knows about the research field, which I don't think most nurses do, but
Mm. Yeah, the majority of healthcare workers don't even realize that's a bigger problem in our industry. Well, in either case, I mean, there's a lot going on, and they say rare disease is not so rare when 1 out of 10 people actually have some kind of rare disease. There's just so many of them.
mhm,
And the FDA has been doing things like fast track designations and orphan disease designations. So there is a lot more innovation in this space. It's just a lot harder for research sites to recruit these kind of patients because by definition it's rare. So you may only find, one Tamara in your region, and if she
mhm,
says no, I don't want to do that
mhm.
study, it's over. Like what else are you gonna do?
So I've always had some type of background with healthcare, and then because I was in college, I was like, okay, well, I really want to get in the healthcare space, but I also want to be able to take my classes. So I got certified as a medical scribe in my sophomore year, junior, so, and then I worked for a company remotely, and ever since then, that's all I've done.
Wow. Ashley Margot, I was telling you before we were recording, I've got to introduce you to Ashley Margot because she has the same background, medical scribe, and then got into research a few years after, and she worked for the state of Texas. She's our co-founder for Latinos in Clinical Research, so I'd love to introduce you. So, okay, once you discovered this opportunity, clinical research,
Mhm,
what did you do? Like, how did you go pursue the career? And what were
mhm.
some of the roadblocks that stopped you? And then what were some of the things that you did well that you think others can emulate as well?
Yeah, so in my second year, second semester before graduating, I watched your video.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I think it's like clinical research intro. It's like a 5 hour video.
Yeah, the 5 hour. Okay. Yeah.
And then I wrote notes. I still have my small little notebook with all the notes in there. So I could, understand, the terminology and understand the field. And then I started to network via LinkedIn. And I literally just messaged a bunch of clinical research professionals and say, hey, I'm new. Do you have any advice? Like I wasn't initially, I didn't initially ask for roles or anything. I initially just wanted to learn first.
Were they helpful or like the
Yes, I have,
majority? The majority were
yes,
helpful?
yes, I have like over 10 people that I've spoken to since
What
then.
was because people are intimidated and get stuck at this step the initial
hmm
step of reaching out, especially on LinkedIn when they don't know you,
hmm
uh, people tend to spam, right?
hmm
What was your approach specifically in this regard, messaging people on LinkedIn? Like, how did you go about it? What was the subject line? And then what was like the body of the message? Just to help people out a little more.
Yeah, subject. So I believe the subject line is like I will put my name, then I will put what did I put? I believe I put clinical research journey in
Okay.
the subject line. And then the message I just put like, hey, I recently graduated, or at the time, I'm a senior. These are the current skills I have. These are the current roles I've done. Can you provide me with any advice on your journey and how you got into the clinical research industry?
I like that. So yeah, so you're not asking for a job or an opportunity. You're just asking, hey, what's the path you took? What kind of people did you target? Who were you targeting?
I just started with people. I wasn't targeting a specific type of people. Oh,
Okay.
well, I did look at a lot of clinical research coordinators.
Okay. Okay. And they were helpful.
Yeah, I've met a lot of people.
Wow, okay.
Lots.
And
You
the
should, you
advice
should see my
was
my LinkedIn.
we should share the screen and show it. But I think people underestimate a couple of things. They underestimate how many conversations they need to have. And I think they underestimate the attitude that you need to open with because it seems like yours was an attitude of purely I want to learn. And then you're playing on people's altruistic states, right? Rather than asking them for something, which is a lot harder to do. And people are not really prepared for that. But when it comes to just something like as innocent as helping out a fellow, medical scribe, especially if you can find a medical scribe background people, um, probably would have worked even better, but you didn't need to go that route. So I like the approach. And eventually that led to getting jobs, or it just led to developing your strategy more for how to find the jobs.
Yeah, I think it developed my relationship with people in the industry. As far as finding jobs, I just applied constantly on various websites directly to the website.
Did that work?
And yes, as a new grad, I'm surprised because a lot of people aren't actually getting interviews. I've had over four.
For like research sites,
No, hospitals.
hospitals? Okay.
I've had, I don't remember. I had a clinical research coordinator interview. I had a data coordinator interview. I had the health information specialist interview. I had several other ones. I just don't remember them.
Yeah. I remember
I
you
had
came on
another
the live
in-person
stream.
medical scribe.
You came on the live stream, right, recently, and you brought up the two different interviews that you had,
hmm
and then I said, "Hey, I mean, they're both good. If you don't have anything, they're both good, but the one I th would like for you is this research clinic, like this community-based
hmm
clinic." And that's who ultimately hired you. How did you get that
Yeah.
job?
So, you posted a video asking how would you answer, what was the questions? How would you answer a couple of questions? And I believe one was about organization and the other one was about how to electronic systems, I think. And
Hmm.
then I answered, and someone named Lee, he liked my answer, and
Wow.
it and, and
Wow.
he initially wanted to offer me a role, but I
Lee,
don't live in the
shout
I
out
don't
to Lee.
live yeah I didn't I don't live in the state. I believe it's Boston. I don't live in the state. And then I asked if he has something remote, and he said he'll be on the lookout. And then I messaged him privately, and then I he referred me to the site owner for the site that I got hired at.
Wow. So that right there, this process, then this role opportunity is in addition to the ones you applied for online. This
Mhm.
is so, see, guys, what Tamara did, she could have got a job at the traditional route too. It was working for her, but she went the social media route, ended up getting the better job because, and I don't even remember post I did, but I asked something to be engaging. You answered, which is what I tell people all the time. Find engaging posts on LinkedIn, put comments. People read the comments. Lee read the comment. Lee's a site owner in Phoenix, Arizona. He's a friend of Save Our Sites. He's been on the podcast before. He needs staff. So, like a good business owner, he's looking for talent. He sees someone like Tamara who's clearly passionate about the space. Passion is important because we know you're not going to quit when the going gets tough. That commenting on your off hours on LinkedIn about work shows you're passionate. There's no other way around it. And a genuine comment, I'm guessing, not like a BS spammy comment, but a
Yeah.
genuine one. Lee saw that, wanted to hire you, but because you don't live in Arizona, you private messaged him. You everything you're doing is like you should write a book on this. How I got my first role in clinical research. If you want, I'll help you write it. We could put it on Amazon. How I got my first role in clinical research. So you messaged him then and said, what did you say in that message when you messaged him?
I can look because I don't
Just like
remember.
approximately, like what was the purpose of messaging him? Like, hey, Lee, sorry, I don't live in Arizona, but do you know anyone? Like, did you then go and ask, or was it more like just more advice from him?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. I can read it. I can read it to you
Okay.
actually. So I
Lee
said,
Eifler, shout out to you, man.
my name is Tamara Adams. I wanted to connect with you. I saw that you liked my answers to the interview question that Dan asked yesterday. I just wanted to introduce myself that to you since you said that you would speak with a research site in Decatur, Georgia, which it was a different site, and share my name, which is greatly appreciated. I recently graduated from Georgia State University with a BS in biology. I have over 2 years of experience as a research assistant, as well as 2 years of experience as a medical scribe. I have always had a passion for research as well as patient care because of my personal experience as a patient who had been in a space where my patient safety was not valued. With the skills with the skills that I possess, I would love to pivot into the clinical research industry.
And then he replied back, hey, I know a site there.
Yeah,
Because Lee's a master networker. Lee's been on the show. He's probably one of the better networking site owners that there are. He's better than I am. I'm not very good at networking. I just do a podcast, but he goes to conferences, talks to everybody, remembers who they are and where they, I mean, that's crazy. And
yeah,
indirectly benefited you. Well, directly benefited you because then we all have neurons that fire all the time, and our lives are noisy. So you became one neuron, activated one in his brain, and then once you reached out to him again, another one fired where he remembered this site owner, and then those two connected, and that's how thought precedes action, and how Tamara is now. It's amazing how this stuff works if you think about it.
yeah.
What is
Because
a
when I
thought? A thought is like a electromagnetic like impulse in your brain. So you became one in his, and then that other side owner he knew became one, and then they connected. It's crazy.
I still can't believe it because when I initially answered your question, I was just answering your question.
Yeah, and you answering a post is another like electro signal like in the brain. Like probably went through your head, should I comment or not? Or something like that.
Yeah.
And okay, what should I put? I mean, and now it's reality. You're living it. So how did that work? The site asked you to come in for an interview.
No, so what did I do after that? Oh my God, I don't remember. I believe, oh, that's it. I had unknowingly speaking with the site owner anyway.
Ah, okay, okay.
So I
Through
didn't, this
through
person,
applying, or just you saw them on LinkedIn too, or what? What?
yeah, I just saw her on LinkedIn,
Okay.
message that again asking for her journey. And
Wow.
then she asked me, well, how'd you know Lee? Because she knows Lee. And I told her the same story. And she set up a interview with me for
Wow.
a
Okay.
clinical
So
research
you're
assistant position. And
multiple. You're getting at it across multiple angles, which is perfect because all those impulses firing in people's brains, these are busy people. But the more they're hearing Tamara, Tamara. Tamara, and then it starts connecting. Like, hey, I actually know her, and then it becomes an easier hire for them. So what was that interview with her like? And who is the? I'm not sure I know this site owner, but
Elaine Palmer.
yeah, I know the name, but I don't know her very well, but I recognize her.
Yeah, the interview process was pretty great. I had an interview with her and the current study coordinator at the site.
What can you walk us through that? Like, what was that like? And from my interactions with Elaine, I know she's super passionate about the space,
Mm.
and I mean, I've followed her, she's probably followed me. We followed each other like throughout the years, but she has a background, I believe, from the sponsor side and also like a CRA. So, can you kind of walk us through that interview process? Like, you got there as descriptive as you can. Like, what was the setting like? Was the receptionist greeted you, or how
But
did that work?
it was a remote interview.
Ah, remote. Okay.
Mhm.
Welcome to the modern day world. So just Zoom, you jumped on a Zoom and that's it.
Yeah. Jumped on the
Okay.
Zoom. She asked me, she had said, no, tell me about yourself. The typical interview questions. Tell me about yourself. They asked a lot about organization, how I would handle being under pressure, which is where I used you post a video with one of your current coordinators,
Mm.
and I believe in the interview,
Katie, probably.
yes, Katie, yes. And she explained how she had previously worked in customer service. And I was able to use my customer service experience because I previously worked at Dollar General for a year. I was able to use my customer service experience as a sales associate and implement that into the how do you handle being under pressure, and then how would you
Man.
handle a stressful patient?
Yes. And oh yeah, that one that I had two employees that way. One is Lana, who worked at a restaurant, family-owned restaurant, and I mean when they're upset, when the customers get upset, when the register doesn't work and they're busy. Same thing with Dollar General
Yeah,
where you worked.
it's
So
actually pretty
yeah,
bad because General uses really old cashier machines.
yeah, there's entire history about the cash register that's really interesting. It
Yeah.
caused the guy who invented it was a store owner. And this was like 100 years ago. And once that came, he invented a way for his own employees not to steal from him. So he had basically invented the cash register.
Wow.
And then that got so successful, he stopped his own store and just started selling cash registers to other stores. So yeah, big innovation there.
But I believe in my example, because I had a customer who, and he didn't mean to do it, had a bottle of bleach and he banged it on the counter really hard, and the top flew off and bleach got in my eye.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I
Wow. What did
so
you
I
do?
had to
You
I
ran to
just
the
went up,
eye wash?
well, I freaked out. And then I had to remain calm because I didn't want him to like, oh my God, like feel so bad. And what my manager was the one that was in immediate panic. I wasn't as immediately panicked as she was
Hmm.
because I wanted to try to, I guess, regulate my emotions so I wouldn't upset the customer as much.
Yeah.
And so then I ran back to the eye wash station. They called the fire department. They flushed my eye out. I had to go to the hospital and I had to get my eye flushed out again. But
Did
yeah,
the eye wash work? The
no.
no?
The flushing device they use at the hospital worked, but the eye
Mm,
flush that they have at Dollar General, that's very old.
it didn't
Did
work.
not, no.
We have eye wash station at the clinic. That's what I'm asking. Thank God I never had to use it ever in 20 years. But we do have it there just in case. I'm always thinking about it too. It's in the back of my mind.
Yeah. So that was a
Wow.
scary experience.
Well, that's definitely handling customer. Wow. Thank God you're okay after that. I mean,
Yeah.
could
My
have been
sight is
worse.
still fine. I'm 20/20.
Okay. Okay. I
My
was
sight,
about to
my
say.
sight is still great.
You were not permanently harmed by that, hopefully. That's good. Well, I don't think you'll have any patients throwing bleach on you at the sites, but
No.
never say never. I mean, it maybe. Patients get mad occasionally, but from my experiences, for the most part, even when you give them bad news, like, hey, you're a screen failure, I'm sorry, and they really wanted to get in the study, very rarely do they just storm out.
Mhm.
And we work with psychiatry patients a lot, so you would expect it more. And it happens here and there, but for the most part, no. Believe it or not, it's just like if you handle people like human beings and treat them well, which hopefully you'll translate this skill into your workspace now.
Yeah, so also I'm also on Saturdays and Sundays I work at a leasing agent office.
Ah, okay, okay.
So I'm a weekend leasing agent. So I have to deal with residents
So you
and
you get the side hustle
so
going too. You know
yeah.
what? That could work well as
Mhm.
patient recruitment when you work at the site because
Mhm.
community outreach. You're out in the
Mhm.
community. You're literally talking to residents of the apartment, right?
So I have to deal daily with their concerns. But I
Hmm.
also have to sell, I have to give tours, so I have to do all of that. So I think those skills will be good
Yes.
to transfer.
Tours, you'll do tours a lot as a site coordinator too, like with a site selection visit.
Hmm.
They hired you, Elaine hired you as a research assistant, right? Right now.
Yes.
But ultimately that becomes a coordinator. And I don't know any site owners that hire research assistants and don't have a plan for them to be a coordinator, especially someone like you who clearly has the background, medical scribe, the bachelor's degree. So, uh, you'll be giving tours as well as a coordinator at some point.
Well, I'm pretty much used to it now. I'm pretty confident now. It took me a while to get confident in the leasing agent role, to give tours, but
Hmm.
it's only I ended training last week, so and I'm confident in it and I'm good. So I think that'll translate
Good for
well.
you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Did that come up in your interview, the weekend job?
It did not because I didn't have the weekend job at the time. Like I just got
Ah,
that offer.
okay,
I got
okay.
that offer as well, like a
I
day
think
after.
that could benefit the site.
Hmm.
If they knew, they'd probably like it even more so because it's an aspect of community outreach that every small site needs. And I mean, you're literally out there working in the community too in your other job.
Yeah.
And you can subtly just bring up like research opportunities when people ask you or just conversations with people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, interesting. Okay, so when is your first day or did you start yet at the site?
No, my first day is October 21st.
Ah, so you get another week. Enjoy the week off. What are you doing this week besides my podcast?
Nothing.
Enjoy
Nothing.
because you're about to get busy. Did
Yeah.
they talk to you about a future as a coordinator? Like were the questions around what you want to do as a career in research or
Yes, the study coordinator actually asked me what are my goals within 3 to 5 years. Yeah, and I
what
just
did you say?
explained that, eventually I want to become a coordinator in 3 to 5 years, and
They
that's pretty
love
much
to
it.
hear that. The reason they ask that, they don't want you to leave. Like
Yeah.
once they train you, it takes a lot of work to train someone, even if
Mm.
somebody smart and talented like yourself. Like it's still a lot of training and it's a lot of hard work up front. I would say 3 to 6 months of training, someone like you. After that, you become relatively good. Certainly after a year, you become like you're able to be on your own. That's like our staff now at Yuma Clinical Trial. And that's when it gets risky for the site owner or director. Like, hey, we put all the work. We don't want someone else to come in now and take this person or them to leave and go do something else within research. So, once they train you, then it's on them to keep the employees. And this becomes patient retention and it becomes um, something important for sites to uh, have to deal with retaining talent because it becomes expensive to keep bringing on new people and stuff like that. But we'd love to like do more interviews with you and follow your career as it progresses. So Monday is your first day next week.
Yes.
Congrats, Tamara. You did a very
You.
good job. I think this is very, it should be very enlightening for other people. I think the attitude you bring is, well, obviously you're proactive, but you also bring humility when you talk to people because you're approaching from a position of I want to learn more, and you are the person that can teach me more, and in a way that's not so like requesting of like a time commitment from them. So I think that benefited you, and also just commenting on the post. So keep it up,
Yeah.
keep doing it.
Thank you. I would also recommend for the new grads out there who want to get into the clinical research industry to get IATA certified and GCP certified.
Yes, we forgot to mention that.
Yes, I
You
am.
had those.
Yes.
Awesome. Where'd you get those links from? Me?
No, I connected with someone else
Ah, okay, okay,
in Canada, and then we had a meeting. She is a site owner in Canada,
okay.
and we had a meeting, and she sent me the links.
Yeah, it's like every week, maybe 4 or 5 people ask me for the link. So I have them in my Evernote ready to copy and paste whenever someone asks me. But excellent job with that. This is the blueprint for
Mhm.
success. And then court,
More advice. Don't be scared to ask questions because I know right now I seem like confident and I'm speaking well. I have always been like a very introverted, shy person, but the only way I developed like the confidence to speak and speak up is because I had to stop being scared of asking questions and feeling like, oh, if I ask a question, will I be looked down upon, especially as a new grad? Or will my questions be looked at as dumb because I don't know anything? And I think that made me more confident, and also just being honest, like, hey, I don't know anything, help.
yeah. No, I think that works because there's a lot of people out there that try to act like they know or
Mhm.
try to act like they could figure it out, and it comes across as arrogant,
Mhm.
honestly. And I'd much rather have someone that works for me that's humble and say, hey, I don't understand, but they've also gone proactively and did the things they need to do, like GCP, AIDA. Literally anyone can do those things. And now you guys can ask Tamara for the links.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Well, pretty soon you get to start thinking about giving back to others. And now people are going to be reaching out to you, asking you, you're going to be a mentor pretty soon.
That's okay. I'm
That's
okay with that.
awesome. That's awesome, Tamara. Good luck getting started, and I know you'll do well. And we'll keep, if it's okay with you, keep following up, maybe as often as you'd like, come back on and do some follow-ups, see how
Yeah,
things are
okay.
going with
I'm
the
down.
site. Okay. And awesome. Thank you. I got to talk to Elaine too. I got to talk to her one of these days because I need to get her on the podcast.
Yes, you should.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tamara. Look, everybody go connect with her. This is the way to do it, the way she just did it. And now, eventually, she's going to be a mentor to the rest of the community. Pay it forward. Like, subscribe, comment, share. We'll see you back on, Tamara, soon enough. Okay.